thank you for subscribing to Podcast One Premium.
It's not the best one. It's not the great one. You're speaking with the juiciest one.
I'll tell you, one of the things with the WCW, in fact, when your phone died, you were in the midst of talking about that. One of the things with Juventud Guerrera and later Rey Mysterio Jr. or actually it was, is with the masks and everything, they could have made that mean something. And I'm not even saying, I think with Juventud Guerrera it was not even a mistake to take the mask from him. But I think that they rushed things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Rather than let it mean something. So then, okay, he lost his mask, but what did it really accomplish in the long run? What were the feelings as far as those guys? Were they when the time came for them to lose their mask? Were they
totally pissed? They were totally pissed, but they didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to lose their jobs. Plus, they got a lot of heat in Mexico.
We've got the poll, final results in on the poll. What did you think about last night's wrestling? 23% saw both shows and thought that Nitro was the better show of the two. 40% saw both shows and thought Raw was the better of the two, which means 63% of the people watched 5 hours of wrestling last night, which so did I, as a matter of fact. 21% did not watch Nitro, 6% did not watch Raw, and 10% did not watch either Nitro or Raw. So anyway, that's the results of the thing. We've got one question. We're going to go to the calls. In fact, we've got Bob Barnett on the phone, so we're going to go to him just right after this question. This is from Sanchez, who wants to know, what did you think of the pinata match?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I thought it was funny.
Okay.
All these people, like when they see the Taco Bell dog and they get up in arms in the pinata, we make fun of other races. If you can't make fun of your own, then, you need to get a life. It was funny.
Okay, let's go to Bob Barnett. Bob, what's up?
Hi guys. I had to call in because Carlos had to say, butt buddy Vampiro, and I only got about 3
like you do is lick his ass, bro.
I just wanted to know, Vamp sort of thought that you guys were starting to cool off on each other. When are you ever going to get to the time when you can just lay off it?
You and Vamp can both kiss my ass. That's what I have to say about that. The motherfuckers going around the locker room trying to say I got heat for being on this internet show and that I was going to be on it in Tuesday and I was going to get more heat. He sounds like a little bitch going around gossiping, and you're usually the guy that gives him most of this gossip. So fuck both of you.
Well, good, Carlos. I'm glad that you show your stride. Thanks, Dave. I'll talk to you.
Say something really funny so everybody thinks you're a charming guy. Get the hell off the line.
Whoa.
Good old Carlos. Bye.
Yeah, good old Bobby. Bye.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, that was definitely different.
Orgullosamente Latino hasta la muerte y después. Worldwide Latino pride, the ambassadors of violence. LAX, K-Dog, the notorious 187 homicide.
What up, though? It's your boy KG Kevin Gill behind the boards, proud to be the producer of Keepin It 100 with Konnan, maintaining it flying high as the flagship show on the Jericho Network on Podcast One. This week, Bellator fighter and Impact Wrestling superstar Bobby Lashley joins the show along with his homie Shane Helms. Double J Jeff Jarrett from Global Force Wrestling is here to talk football. The return of Juventud Guerrera with the Ask Juicy Love and Relationship Advice segment. Dave Gin and Juice and Molly Meltzer is back to dissect this wrestling business. The return of Mass Republic Minute and a whole lot more. But without any further ado, let's throw it on over to the master of the verbal gems. It's Konnan.
Yo, we're back. This is episode 23 of Keepin It 100 with Konnan, Disco Inferno, and KG Kevin Gill. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's good, K-Dog?
Just chilling in here in the 619. It's incredible for us to see the growth that we've been having in these 23 episodes. Every time that Chris Jericho shows us the number, it's very impressive. So again, we do this, because you're entertained by it. Also a way for us to make some cheese. And we can't thank you enough for staying on week after week and also for spreading the word. One of the things that I wanted to tell you is that we get paid by the sponsors. That's what keeps the show on the air. Obviously, the more listeners, the more that we get paid. But something real important that I wanted to note out, when we do like Nature Box Snack or the Bowl and Branch sheets or Helix mattress, CISO, whatever it is, all of that, when they see that you guys make a purchase, they keep sponsoring us. So if that's something that you're thinking about buying in the future, we highly recommend these products. Check it out. Keeps us on the air. And when you purchase stuff, especially the people that like to get stuff like through Amazon, if you notice, a lot of times I'll shout you out here on the podcast. So if you want me to do that, just hit me up via Twitter and show me the proof and what city you rep, and we'll shout you out. This week, wanted to shout out Eloisa Rodriguez from Gilroy, California, Chris Rodriguez from the Yay, Jeff Corman and his dad from Cumberland, Indiana, Jared Aviet from Melbourne, Australia. Also wanted to give a big shout outs to the home. You might know who he is, Disco Inferno. You know Tyler Stinson from Rocky Mountain Pro?
Yeah.
The guy that does MMA gimmick. He actually was an MMA fighter. He actually reached out to me and we gave him some game. I usually carry a bag of game at all times. Boom. And also a lot of people are asking me about that coffee that I always put over that I drink. It's called Café Bustelo. I've been drinking café con leche with what we call...
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
You drink Café Bustelo too?
Come on.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the yellow can, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Really? Who hooked you up with that, or how did you find out?
Just started drinking it. In the I drink that, and I drink. There's the store down the street, farther down the street, like who I very rarely go to. They sell Enterman's coffee, which is like a New York coffee.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I didn't.
So when I go to that store, I'll pick up the Enterman's, but the store right down the street, I get the Bustelo.
What's the difference between the Enterman's and the Bustelo?
It's hard, you know. They both taste good, but there's just New York coffee tastes different. It's difficult to describe the taste, but they just taste different, but they're both good. Yeah. And I know bad. I mean, I'll have bad coffee. You know, bad coffee is usually just, you know the difference between good coffee and bad coffee.
Yeah, right. So, when you go to the gas station and you get coffee. But anyways, check out Café Bustelo, Cuban coffee, hot or cold, boom. Also, last week we told you about these emails, and we've created a new automated email system to make sure you never miss a single episode. So get on podcast1.com/100 and sign up. Then we'll take care of the rest, letting you know exactly when a new show is out and what it's all about. That's podcast1.com/100.
Yep, and you spell out the one in podcast. It's podcastone.com/100. And not only can you sign up for the mailing list there, but our killer deals button lives there too for Amazon.
Did you ever see that movie that I recommended to you, Disco, Moonlight?
No, I've not seen it. I haven't seen anything.
Okay, I went to see one more, another foreign film. Excellent. It's out now. Highly recommended. It's called Elle. You said you saw a Canadian film. What was that called? Tremendous.
And it sucked.
This one was great. Yeah, with Martin Short must have been in it. Boom. And it's tremendous, bro. It has this great actress called Isabelle Huppert, I believe is how you pronounce it. Very well cast. Great story. Check it out. Okay, so let's get over to TLC. Let me tell you just real quick about TLC, something that I thought was hilarious. Do you remember the JoJo Dutch stuff they said for Curt Hawkins at the last pay-per-view?
Repeat it if you know it.
I remember one, I think, the one where when Curt Hawkins goes to a store, he doesn't check out items. The items check him out. Boo! Boo! That's Grand Shearer bad. It's like old feet bad. Tremendous. So, and they had another one. I just remembered another one. When Curt Hawkins looks at Medusa, she turns into stone. Really? Come on.
Okay. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, just the most terrible. Come on, bro. Just the most terrible lines. And then with a guy that's got that, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? I'll be here all week. Bro, listen to this one. I know there must have been 2 or 3 more, and I'll have to look for them. But I remember this one. Tell me how terrible this one is. All right. So they had a 10-man tag, right? Mm-hmm. And I think he was the captain of his team. All right. This is what the guy said. Star Trek may have Captain Kirk, but we have Captain Kurt. How brutal is that? Come on. Come on.
Man. I mean, like bro, let me tell you something. I'd love to see the reaction. Like when the guy, whoever is the guy that wrote the joke, is like sitting at the monitor, and like say he's sitting there with like 4 other writers or boys or whoever there are, and he's like waiting for his joke to come across, and it comes across. he laughs out loud at it, and like everybody else is just staring at the screen in complete dead silence.
Right, exactly. But what I don't even understand is how it's getting by the editor or the wrestler. Why doesn't the wrestler say this is bullshit? Maybe
could you imagine if they brought that to you with those lines? Like, come on, guys, I'm not saying this.
Right.
It's like, it's not funny, or maybe they think it's funny.
I did that a lot, believe me. Yes. No, bro. No. Yeah, that's brutal. So were you going to say something about TLC? I want to say another thing. I don't know about you guys. I hate, I think the first time I actually saw this might have been in TNA. I hate the all cage concept, and I hate the every match TLC concept for a whole show like that. It just, to me, it loses its novelty.
Well, I don't even know if you can't hit him over the head with the chairs anymore. I mean, I don't even see what the point is.
Yeah, the only thing worse than a chair match is a stairs match.
A what?
They've had those before, stairs matches where you could just use the stairs.
When did they have that?
I can't recall if they did it as a standalone or if they just added tables and ladders and chairs and stairs type of thing.
In WWE they did that?
Yeah. Not on this show, but they have used.
You sure?
100%.
Are you
And it was called that and stairs match?
I believe. Let me look it up right now.
I will tell you one thing.
Was that show highly questionable?
Yes, highly questionable. Did you ever see that? Did you see this match? Did you see Corbin and Kalisto?
Yes, I did. And let me tell you, the finish is horrible. Bro, let me see. Here's the funny thing.
But they had a good match.
Had a good match.
And that's a tough match, a chair match. Come on.
I tweeted this out, and somebody said, don't be that guy when I tweeted this. Okay? Bro, they're having all these chairs and stuff, everything. Corbin does the finish where he slams the guy does the finish onto the chairs, but Corbin hits the chairs too.
Right.
And like just completely no-sells the fact that he hit him, but the other guy has to sell the fact that he hit him. I thought that, I mean, maybe I'm being too old school, but that's just a very small detail. Like when Rob Van Dam does the frog splash, he sells, he sells the move too.
Right.
No selling that is like a detail that like a green guy ignores. But like a veteran would obviously I would hit that, I would cover the guy, and I'd immediately go to selling my back because I just hit the chairs.
Right.
And bro, think about how ridiculous it is that he's no selling it, and he really actually did hit the chairs for a shoot.
Right.
Okay, so I guess he is right.
Just for the record, the 2014 edition of the TLC pay-per-view was called Tables, Ladders, Chairs, and Stairs, and the show featured a stairs match between Eric Rowan and the Big Show.
Oh, how brutal that must! How brutal must that have been?
Well, just the fact that it got on, like somebody. Could you imagine somebody saying, "Hey, why don't we have a stairs match?"
Right.
Yeah,
between
that's great.
two of the most limited guys we have.
Like when I think of a stairs match,
yeah,
I think we need two small guys where you can do like running, jumping on the stairs, we can do acrobatics with the stairs.
Right. Right. Just to pick up the stair, the guy's already on you.
Bro, the stairs match should last about 1.5 minutes.
Right.
The Big Show knocks the guy down. He picks up the stairs. He crushes the guy with the stairs and pins him.
Bro, that's why I hated seeing him yesterday, and I'll tell you why when we get to the Raw. But did you see the 10-man, either one of you?
I missed that one. I saw it. What did I see? The Bliss, Alexa Bliss.
Okay, let me just tell you this because you would love this. Did you see it, KG, or no?
I didn't see the 10-man, no, on that show.
Okay, you would love this because we like ridiculous stuff like this, DI. Have you seen that guy called Mojo Rawley or whatever?
From the Hype
that he's like a spastic charisma guy like Brian Christopher. Remember Brian Christopher Disco?
Right, yeah.
Tell me that wasn't one of the best ring entrances, the Thriller dance.
I didn't see it.
No. When Brian Christopher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he was
KG, was that's over at all with you or no?
Well, you mean just the standard Brian Christopher thing that he would do?
The Thriller dance, the goggles, the spazzing out.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was hilarious.
Bro, Mojo Rawley reminds me a lot of him, and he did this thing called the Hammer Time. I hope I can find it on video so you can see this. You know how like The Rock will go like with his hands like that, like he's going to hit the ropes to hit the running elbow?
Right.
The people's elbow. He did some spastic version of that with some sort of MC Hammer move that was so ridiculous. and it actually got a pop.
Okay, I'm watching it now. It's with that crazy
Go out
dance.
of your way. It's called the Hammer Time.
I can send it to you.
Out of your way to see this if you can.
Yeah, if you just on YouTube type in Mojo Rawley Hammer Time, you'll get a lot of results.
I like the Mojo Rawley Hammer Time. I checked it out.
But
What I love is that on the footage I'm watching, when he starts to call it out like it's Hammer Time, his partner Zack Ryder's on the apron like, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Bro, see, that's the stuff I like, bro.
Yeah, that's funny stuff.
Right.
That's entertainment, bro. There's not enough of that.
Right. And what I like about him is he's kind of like he reminds me like Brian Christopher meets, Rob Gronkowski. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I tell you, I enjoy SmackDown, and not just because it's an hour shorter, because it's a better show than Raw. Raw's terrible, bro.
Oh, I said terrible. That. I mean, with the exception of Jericho, he's the only good thing on the show.
Yeah, bro. Jericho and Owens, Seth is entertaining too, but now I like this one. Like yesterday, it was like, now's when you're mad at Triple H? You know what I'm saying?
Can't stop the bum rush. Keeping on, moving on with Keeping It 100, episode 23. Right now, we want to throw it on over to our homie, the Son of Havoc, a.k.a. M-Dog20, a.k.a. Matt Cross, as he reminisces on a story about meeting Konnan and Rey Mysterio for the first time. And this story comes courtesy of the two-man power trip of wrestling with Chad and John Paz.
Back in 2000, my buddies and I drove to Las Vegas, and there was a Nitro Grill inside of, what is it, the Caesar's, not Caesar's Palace, whatever one's the castle. It's Excalibur, I believe. So inside Excalibur, WCW had a restaurant called the Nitro Grill. And I remember my buddies and I just floating, casino to casino, whatever. And then we see this like, whoa, WCW has a restaurant, we gotta go. So we go to this WCW restaurant, and it's, it has like guys' outfits and whatever, and memorabilia and stuff like that. And we're sitting down to eat, and it's not particularly busy or anything, and we look over, and, like, there's Konnan and Rey Mysterio eating, and I'm like, and ECW is what got me into wrestling, so I was familiar with Rey Mysterio stuff just even there, him and Juventud Guerrera having the craziest matches. So even in retrospect, it's even funnier, because there was no sense of, like, oh, we shouldn't bug them, they're eating or about to. I was like, oh, my gosh, Rey Mysterio, I'm going. So it's like, I went right over to them, and it was just like, man, and they were so nice and so cool. It's insane I haven't even thought about that for a while. And so now here we are, like 16 years later, and these people, I was just in my infancy of wrestling, or I was probably back at wrestling, or about to start training, or I just started training, or like wrestling was just this idea, at that time. But for me to share that with them and be like, and talk about these, it wasn't like Rey Mysterio wasn't like, oh yeah, ECW or whatever. I remember being like, oh yeah, that match and this and that, and just being excited to talk about it. And so they were cool then. I have autographs somewhere I could dig up like from that day. And here we are 16 years later, and I'm getting the chance to like work with them. It's just pretty amazing. And it just, to see, Prince Puma versus Rey Mysterio from the main event of last year's Ultima Lucha was like one of the best matches I feel like I've ever seen live, and just to know what it meant, to Prince Puma as a friend, it was really special and cool, and to know that Rey Mysterio was willing to do what he did for this project, and there was no, again, he could have just kind of gone on cruise control and hit the greatest hits, but he was doing stuff he hadn't done in years, if ever, and he just remains that inspiration. In the ring to be doing what he's doing, and then outside to treat every one of us like how he does, and be so cool and humble. It's like he sets such a good example for us younger guys, and like that's what we always wanted to be, and then even now that's what we still want to be. So it's awesome to have him involved.
Next on Keeping It 100, we chop it up and break it down on Vince Russo's comments on women and breaking racial barriers in America.
Well, I was like discussing with him about how, his views on women, on, whether women were created to be leaders. And I said, let me ask you a question. I go, do you think that if you're an owner of a business, should you be allowed not to hire a woman for a managerial position because you don't think they're made to be created to be leaders? He says, no, I don't think you should be not allowed to do that. That's like, I said, well, the reason it's a talking point is because there are the Religious Freedom Act. There are people out there that would use talk like that or use like philosophy like that to use the Bible to basically discriminate. I said, that's why it's, I said, you're sexist. I go, but that's not, but the only thing that's sexist is you're just offending women's groups. I go, if you're offending men by being sexist, that's like, that's like a sissy man. I mean, who cares, right? I said, I'm sexist. I don't like women's basketball. I don't like women's wrestling. I don't like, I go, that's sexist. Big deal. I go, I respect women. I love women. I would never discriminate against a woman. I think a smart, strong woman is a good thing, I go, but I have my opinions about women that people will probably construe as I have some sexist views about women. But that's me. I said I'm a male chauvinist pig. I've stated that from the get-go. I go, but I would never I'm not using the Bible to tout my views. This is just how I personally feel. I go, I don't think I should be chastised if I tell you that I think women's, the WNBA is a terrible product. I don't want to watch a bunch of girls playing basketball.
And what do you say?
Like, he disagreed, how you can disagree with that? He kind of agreed that, like, he's, I kind of got him to say, I go, bro, I go, you're not, he goes, he told me, he was like, you said I was Archie Bunker. I said, no, you're not Archie Bunker. I go, but you say things sometimes that make you sound like Archie Bunker. I go, that's the difference. I go, so, but the thing is when you do that, you can't sit there and fight and say, no, I'm not Archie Bunker. It's like, well, you sounded like him. And then it's just like, well, yeah, I did kind of sound like Archie Bunker there, but, that's the problem. I go, when you fight, when you can say things, I go, bro, there's just people out there just waiting for people to say the wrong things. Right. I go, so that's why you have to navigate your way through these podcasts. I go, I have thick skin. I'll say whatever I want to, and I'm ready to hear the criticism. I go, but if I don't want to hear the criticism,
unless it's about Jeremy Borash.
So, but I'm just saying,
or Vince Russo.
Yeah. Well, I just said, I go, if I don't want to hear the criticism, I don't discuss it. Right. So that it's that simple. I go, I'm not gonna say critical things. I'm not going to say the controversial things, and then when people attack me for it, which I know they should, I'm not going to sit there and try and defend what I say for 2 days, and get in arguments with them and stuff and all that, and try to say, no, I'm not. I'm not. It's like I'm just going to say that there are trolls out there. People are dying to make it to just get offended. That's the society we live in today. We kind of agree that that it's you can see you say sexist things. Yes,
right.
That's an agreement.
Right. And then,
but that's the way he feels. I go, well, that's fine the way you feel, but don't sit there and fight everybody about it and thump the Bible and stuff and everything. That's just the
it's
way
almost like you're telling everybody F you, and then when they say it back to you, you're like, what?
You get a massive argument. I'm like most things like that are better left just ignored and they go away.
Right.
And I said, this guys go. I go, when you say things that involve racism and sexism, I go, here's the best way for us is that we should all follow what Morgan Freeman said. If you YouTube Morgan Freeman on racism, and just see what it says, it's a great quote. It says the best way to get rid of racism is quit talking about it. Because whenever it's brought up in discussion, it always exists, and everybody has to choose sides. It's like, if we didn't talk about racism, if racism was never discussed on TV or ever in this country for like 3, 4, 5 years, everybody would be going about their lives, and I don't think it would be an issue. I go, well, race relations are actually have improved dramatically and are getting better over the years. I go, bro, it's a perfect example. And there's an ad that appears on Podcast One where Chris Webber is talking about his podcast. And, bro, he hits the nail right in the head because I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching the football games. And, bro, let me tell you something. The one unifying thing on race relations in this country is sports. The NFL. Bro, you go to Buffalo Wild Wings in Las Vegas on a Sunday afternoon, there's a lot of Hispanics. There's a lot of black people. There's a lot of white people. It's all just a melting pot of everybody unified by just following their teams and stuff. There's no racism whatsoever. Because I think race relations are really, really good. Especially, I'm in Vegas. Race relations are fantastic in Vegas. There's a lot of mixed couples in town. There's a lot of, and everybody goes about their business, and there is no, I don't see any bigotry in this town. I've lived here for 8 years. I mean, maybe other places that it might be different, everything, but there is just like a lot of unifying things with race in Las Vegas, Nevada, Yeah.
No, there are a lot of unifying things, but unfortunately, when you're watching the police force, it paints a whole different picture of what life is like for an African American or even a minority for that matter. The other day I tweeted something that it said that in San Diego, an independent study just reported that, blacks and Hispanics were stopped disproportionately. And so, all that type of stuff right there, even though, we've got a black president, and all that's good, but there's still a big problem.
Bro, I was born in 1967. It's right out of there was probably pretty prevalent back then. The 49 years of my life, it's like, if you would have gone back in time in 1967, like go back and look at now, like, wow, how did it used to be like this is what you'd probably be saying. It's like, geez, this is like, this is like really weird. Like everybody's racist.
Bro, I was thinking that back then.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely the country's moving in the right direction, but it has a lot that they have to fix.
It's good. It's a process. We're in the when was the Civil Rights Act? Well, what year was that?
65.
65, but what are we, 50 years later, 51 years later, right?
Yep.
Tons of progress. I'd like to see 51 years from now what it's like.
Right.
I would think there'd be even more progress, obviously,
Right. Yeah, that's still, we shouldn't even be where we are right now. We should be way past that.
Oh, here's the Chris Westbrook. Bro, listen to this. But before we do it, listen to the Chris Westbrook thing real quick. Kevin, can you play it for us?
Yeah.
Play it. I just heard this today.
Nelson Mandela says sports has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire, the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to the youth in a language they understand. Sports can create hope where there was once only despair. It is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial barriers. It laughs in the face of all types of discrimination. I'm Chris Webber. Join me every Tuesday on my podcast, Fearless or Insane, where we'll discuss athletes, sport, and their impact in culture, politics, and society. Download on Podcast One, podcast1.com, and iTunes.
Did he have a slightly different spot last time?
I'm not sure.
Because I thought the other one, let me see. The other one I liked even better. It's a great spot. Had you heard that before, Konnan?
No.
Isn't that right, though, bro? Let me tell you something. Sports is unifying. Because let me tell you something. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you're a Jets fan, everybody goes to the game and cheers on their team together.
Right.
It is. Yeah. Sports literally is more powerful than government.
Not only that, the one thing that I've always said about sports, I've said the same thing. It unifies everybody. If there's a black guy on one side of you wearing a Falcons jersey, right, and there's a Chinese guy by you wearing one, when you score, all three of you just doing high fives and hugs.
Absolutely.
You don't even got to know each other's name.
Right.
Right,
No, yeah. So
and next thing you know, you're sitting down, you're talking. know. So, and that happens all the time that I've been to a sporting event. But another thing it does, it also unifies cities, bro. When Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, makes the playoffs, whether it's the Braves or the Falcons, you know what I'm saying, how everybody's buzzing, everybody's, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot. Music is a lot like that too.
For sure. And you could say wrestling is the same. But hey, here's last week's Chris Webber spot that I thought was even better than this week's. Listen to this.
What do you believe? Would you have had the courage of Muhammad Ali to take on the government based on principle? Or could you find the resolve of Tommy Smith and John Carlos and raise your fist in defiance? Would you have been tough enough to hold your sisters down like Billie Jean King? I'm Chris Webber. Join me every Tuesday on my podcast, Fearless or Insane. We'll discuss sport, athletes, and their impact on society, politics, and culture. Download on Podcast One, podcast1.com, and iTunes.
Bruh, I was waiting for Barry White to come out at any moment and go, baby, let's go.
You know what's funny when he talks about the courage of Muhammad Ali to stand up to the government, And we talk about progress, but in the same way, I think it spotlights in some ways the lack of progress, that it's 50, 60 years later and Kaepernick still gets flack for what he does, in the same way that everybody thought Muhammad Ali was the devil when he did what he did. But history makes Muhammad Ali a hero. But in contemporary times, to people who feel the way Disco feels.
Let me tell you, I think
breaking the law, okay, and just protesting an American flag. Muhammad Ali was a draft dodger. He protested the draft. The law said he had to go to jail
for all the right reasons too.
Right. But I'm just saying. But the law said he had to go to jail. Colin Kaepernick's not risking jail.
We're gonna pause it right there. We could go on for weeks on this topic, but we will be back with part 2 of this very conversation next week on Keeping It 100 with Konnan.
Konnan,
yo, what's up?
How many times after your matches that when you used to wrestle in Mexico with all the luchadors did you guys have to share a bed?
Let me see. There was the one time in Tijuana. There was, I would say 5.
Yeah, 5. Like 500 probably. I know all you guys. Yeah, I know how you guys roll.
Semantics.
No, you guys used to be like 8 guys to a room, you know. But that's
speculatory. That sounds like borderline racism.
You know, no, it's absolutely not borderline racism because they actually did it. It's hysterical. You know, we don't. You know, we're progressive. We don't walk like everyone else, talk like everyone else, or sleep like everyone else. You know, so why?
How do you know? Wait. How do you even know how I sleep?
Well, I just
freak. Are you spying on me now too?
No. I mean, how is your sleep? You sleeping well?
I've had better nights. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, these days, if you want a customized mattress, it'll cost you like $5,000 to $10,000 until now. Yeah, but you know what you can do now? You can go to check this out. You go to helixsleep.com. And if you go to helixsleep.com, all you do is answer a few simple questions and get a load of this.
Oh, is that the bed you were telling me about before that you said was really comfortable and it had couples and all that?
Bro, they'll run a 3D biomechanical model of your body through the proprietary algorithms they developed with the help from the world's leading ergonomics and biomechanics experts. Those are sleep scientists, okay?
Right.
And you know what they came out with?
No.
The perfect mattress.
Right. You were telling me about that.
Yes. It's the most comfortable mattress you've ever slept on. I know, like, some nights, you know, you and Hoovy would go out at the clubs and stuff and then get drunk and, you know, you get in bed.
Let's share a bed together.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Funny. Yeah.
These days, you know, Helix customers report a 30% improvement in overall sleep quality. And this is what they'll do. For those nights you and Hoovy would come home drunk, back to the hotel room, you lay down in the bed. Okay, you know, he's obviously smaller than you. You're the bigger guy. But what Helix would do for you is they'll customize each side of the mattress.
Right.
And your mattress arrives at your door in about a week. And shipping is completely free.
Konnan, do you sleep with Juventud enough to warrant having a special custom mattress made just to accommodate his
No, that was only every now and then when we got drunk.
Bro, seriously.
This guy thinks we live together or something.
Bro, seriously though. Seriously.
Yeah.
Hey, I use Helix and it's unbelievable. It's customized sleep. I sleep fantastic every night. That's why everyone from GQ Magazine to Forbes are all talking about Helix Sleep. And let me tell you about this one thing that's unbelievable. And it's the reason that you should try this. You have 100 nights to try it out. Okay, right. So basically go to helixsleep.com, do the test. They'll test your body and judge it. They'll send you a mattress, a customized mattress, 100 nights to try it out and get a load of this. If you don't love it, if it's not perfect sleep, they'll pick it up for free and give you a full refund. That is how confident they are. And that's how confident I am in this product that I guarantee you will not want to give this back. And if you do, they'll take it back for free.
That's insane,
you can't beat that deal. You can't beat that deal. A free bet for 3 months. And if you don't like it, send it back. Their charge. Come on.
Yeah, if you and anybody out there that's listening to the show, you and your wife, you know, if you're having a rough night's sleep, you'll go to helix.com, helixsleep.com, and they'll set you up. It's unbelievable. I mean, like, this is the perfect night's sleep. I sleep fantastic, bro. I used to get like 4.5, 5 hours of sleep each night. I get 7 to 8 hours of solid, comfortable sleep with the Helix mattresses.
So, KG, where can people get this?
It's real easy, Konnan. All people got to do is go to helixsleep.com/podcast. They get $50 off their first order. You spell Helix, Helix. So just go to helixsleep.com/podcast helixsleep.com/podcast. And one more time, in case Disco Inferno didn't have his pencil ready, it's HELIX sleep.com/podcast. $50 off your order.
Get your sleep mattress. Boom.
Try one out. If you don't like it, you got 100 nights to try it out. They'll pick it up for free. You can send it back, but I guarantee you that this will be the best night's sleep you've ever had. You will not want to send this back.
And if you don't like the mattress, Disco will sleep with you. Boom.
That's very disrespectful.
Proud to welcome back our homie Kevin Kleinrock for that Mass Republic Lucha Minute. Now that he's been unbanned by Disco, Kevin's back to keep the conversation moving as we dissect and break down the very influential and wildly impactful When Worlds Collide pay-per-view.
Respetable público, lucharán 2 de 3 caídas sin límite de tiempo. En esta esquina, el Santo y Cavernario. Y en esta otra, Blue Demon y el Bulldog. El Santo, el Cavernario, Blue Demon y el Bulldog. El Santo, el Cavernario, Blue Demon y el Bulldog.
And you got to think about it, how great Eddie and Art were, because Octagon was an average worker at best. You know, Santo was actually above average, but not on their level. And they ended up having an incredible match. Listen to this. This was, I remember getting furious about this. They actually wanted, this is how much they didn't understand Mexican culture, what we were about. They actually wanted to change the Octagon and Santo match to a one-on-one between Hijo del Santo and Eddie Guerrero for their hair. After we had
I think one of the things that's really hard for people to understand, and this is something I had to learn as a promoter of Lucha Libre events, is because as an American promoter, someone who came up in the American wrestling scene, one-on-one matches were always that main event. You know, when you see a 6-man, even I think today in like WWE, when you see a 6-man as a headliner, you know that it's not going to be that, you know, world-class type of match, because it rarely is in American pro wrestling. But with the Lucha crowd, they want those 6-man matches. They want those tag team matches, and much more of a valuable, match or commodity to headline a show than it is in your traditional sense of pro wrestling.
Bro, if we already sold out the LA Sports Arena, okay, and it's sold out, wouldn't that tell you that we know what we're doing? Why are you trying to...
Yeah, you think, right?
Right. So why are you telling us, you know, we've already been building this, and we've gone to LA and we were doing incredible, you know, all of us, because we were like a family back then, man. And so we were so pumped up that our promotion was doing good and we were making dollars and it was another place to work and we were working in the United States. So everybody was really pumped. And so we'd been pushing this for a long time. This was a real big deal. And they were like, nah, we want to make it a one-on-one, you know, Eddie versus Santo for the hair. And we really put our foot down and we got our way. And thank God we did, because that ended up being the best match on the show. And the heat was incredible, bro. If you look at that match, when I was in the cage match, Madonna's boyfriend, Eddie, and Art came out because we were the Gringos Locos. And some fan punched Eddie. And Eddie went after him. And I remember Perro hitting him with a suitcase. And Eddie didn't sell it. You could actually see this, you know, in the recording. And Eddie didn't sell it because he was so mad, and they almost got into a fight backstage. So the minute I saw that Eddie swung at a fan, I came out of the cage. I jumped over the railing and I went after a fan. And it was just crazy, the heat in that building, you know. And even Meltzer's told me before, he said, I've never seen heat like that ever in a match, because the people were genuinely pissed. And that was right around the time that, since you were in LA, you'll remember this, Pete Wilson, who was the governor, had that 187 proposition against immigration.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, people were really pissed back then.
Well, and this was even when WWE posted a clip on their website, they called it the best pay-per-view you've never seen, because most of their audience probably hadn't seen it. So, I mean, it's remembered so fondly.
It was like 19, Psychosis was like 20, and they were just killing it. The minis, which were some of the best minis in the history of wrestling, you know, Espectrito, Mascarita Sagrada, Jerrito. Oh, bro, those guys were incredible. They were just on a whole nother level, you know. The talent was deep. You know, the show ended up being a huge success. You know, La Parka was there. Panther. Those were the guys that faced Pegasus Kid and Two Cold Scorpion, and Tito Santana was also on that team. So it was a really deep. As a matter of fact, you'll like this one. The show before that one, we had done a show in New York. We had gone to the Paramount, which is right by the Madison Square Garden, and in the first match was DDP. Boom. Because he was actually like Jake. He would travel with Jake the Snake Roberts, kind of like as his assistant.
So the show is on YouTube. People can watch the entire show. People put it up on YouTube over the years. Maybe we'll tweet a link out to make it easy for people. But if you've never seen When Worlds Collide, it's absolutely must watch for wrestling history, for lucha history, for just an amazing show if you've never seen it.
Was it better than Wrestle Kingdom 9?
No.
I didn't think that's funny, bro. I everybody puts over Wrestle Kingdom 9 like it was like the greatest like pay-per-view in the history of that. I watched it, bro. I thought it was all right. You know?
It was better than all right.
I'm just saying, like, but I'm listening to Klein. I put over When Worlds Collide, but I do think when I was breaking in, When Worlds Collide, I think I'd seen this, and I thought it was really because I got a lot of like I was a big fan when you learn how to work, and like had gotten into WCW or getting ready to be in WCW. I was watching a lot of Eddie and Art, like on tapes that I would get and stuff,
right?
Because they were like that. That was like because I was always into sports entertainment, okay, and I wasn't a big fan of the lucha style, but I liked the way that Art worked American style with charisma. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of Mexican guys don't stop in the middle of things and entertain. You know, like and Art was like that. And I was like, wow, those guys. I was like, but damn, him and Eddie. This was back when I first got the sheets. You know, I was reading, observing, they were putting this over. I was like, oh, let me see this. I was like, wow, this guy's really, really good.
Bro, and then imagine when you saw a young Ray in Psychosis, Heavy Metal, those guys, they were killing it, man. I mean, they at that time were revolutionizing the sport. One thing, and I've always said this about Two Cold Scorpio, Sabu, you know, and guys of that ilk. One thing is to be an incredible athlete and be skilled. Another thing is to revolutionize the sport like they were at that time. They were doing things nobody had ever done before.
I still think it was funny, though, that I'm watching all these guys, and they're all over the other, doing incredible athletic things. I loved Art Selling. I loved Eddie, you know, everything. But still, like on top was Paraguayo.
Well, bro,
but that's like the Hogan, but that's like kind of the American, you know. The underneath guys were doing all the eye popping, you know, awestruck stuff.
Right.
But the top guys were still the top guys. So the guys on top, regardless of whether you think their matches are good or not, they're the ones that get the people to pay the money to come see the shows.
Right.
You know. So the other guys that work hard make it a great show. You know?
And we made a conscious effort to do that. We made sure that when you came to see, whether it was Perro, Cien Caras, or myself, or whoever the top guys were, which obviously those guys were all older. I was actually the youngest guy in the main event. I hated wrestling them because they didn't do anything. You know, now I'm like, wow, you know, but back then, you know, I wanted to wrestle Ray and Psychosis and have fun and do really cool spots. And these guys just punch me and, you know.
And you watch the matches too, bro. I recently watched a match in you and Paraguayo.
Yeah.
It's a big one. And you just kind of like had to sit there and let it beat you up.
Right.
And like, you know, you gotta like,
and plus, and I wasn't, and here was another thing. I wasn't the type of wrestler that could make a bad guy look good. You know, so, you know, but anyways, it turned out being a success. You know, we never expected it to sell out the way it did. You know, we were on fire and, you know, we made history, man. I do remember WCW calling us backstage and, you know, taking like an hour off the show or something like that. And then they changed like the first 3 matches I think it was the first 3 matches from 3 falls to 1 fall. We used to have these Peña was real big on elaborate entrances. You know, real big. And they cut all that out. So we were already hot backstage and we were like, all right, bro, you're going to do all this. You know, we almost felt like we were being sabotaged. You know, and we were like, you know what? Let's go out there and rock this place. And we had the people to do it with and the fans were just rabid, you know, really, really rabid. And that just made all the ingredients for a great show. All right. So basically, Kevin, we're going to check you out next week. And this has been another segment of
The Master Public Minute with AAA.
Oh, God, I hate you.
And Kevin, just to make Disco even more aggravated, where can people get more Mass Republic? More Lucha Shop, if you will.
You can find us at Mass Republic on Twitter and at Lucha Shop Merch on Twitter and at massrepublic.com and luchashop.com.
All right, Kevin Kleinrock, this isn't Plug-a-Palooza, and we are trying to placate Disco, so we're going to stop you right there, and we look forward to having you back next week, amigo.
¿Dónde están, perros? Quiero verlos saltándome más, perros. Quiero verlos gritando. Quiero más, perros. Ya los oigo ladrando que el cártel trae el mando y venimos a...
Wrestling historian, journalist, insider, and observer, no pun intended, the great Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter returns to break it down on everything from Roman Reigns, the current WWE product, and even Patterson and Brisco. Take it away.
You know, all around. What would you do with Roman? Would you put him with the Usos? Would you turn Seth?
I wouldn't put him with anyone, but I would have turned him heel a long time ago, and I still would do it.
Wait, isn't that unbelievable?
What is going on with that?
Why are they not doing that?
Because of John Cena. The whole thing is they will go in there and go, because John Cena was so successful as a babyface, even though he was getting booed everywhere. And that proves them right, and they just see that the booing of Roman Reigns is like the booing of John Cena, and it just proves them, and his merchandise numbers are okay, and they believe he's a big arena draw. But I mean, I've studied the numbers, and he's really not. I mean, John Cena is a big arena draw still, but Roman is just like everyone else on the card. If he's there or he's not there, they're drawn. They're going to draw the same.
Dave, do you think John Cena's character on the Total Bellas is a worker shoot?
That's awesome.
Thanks for asking the important questions. I want to know this too.
That's a great question.
I don't know. I don't know. It's anything I see on Total Bellas, I think is like a work. So probably a work. Yeah.
But why isn't it weird for such a beloved character to portray themselves in such a strange way instead of like as being a cool, normal person?
I think that they feel that like nobody takes it seriously, and so they're just doing something. It's like Hot Shot ratings, trying to.
What a great character, bro. What a great character.
I mean, isn't it like so, just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like weirdly interesting, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It is, because you wouldn't expect that from him. This is like the Make-A-Wish guy, Mr. Nice Guy, salute the troops, the company guy. And, he wants to put this dog in the vet, animal control. A little dog, too. It wasn't like a German Shepherd that gave him.
Yeah, that had to be a work. That thing, of course. I mean, that's so TV storyline, that thing, yeah.
If he's doing, bro, if it isn't work, bro, he's doing movies and stuff and doing really well in them. Like his roles he's had, he's knocked it out of the park. Like if he's doing this as a work, it's a great job.
Let me tell you the one thing that tipped me off that it's got to be a work. When they were sitting at the dinner table, and he goes, "When we're done, the ladies will retire." I think he might have said the kitchen, and the men will retire to the smoking room,
to the cigar room.
That's mandatory. That's every day, every episode they have to do that.
Yeah, and they all sit there in that room. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is awesome, bro. That show. Do you watch that, Dave?
Not on a regular basis, but I watched enough to kind of like, have an idea of what they're doing. I'm into Daniel Bryan and trying to figure out like what's real and not real about Daniel Bryan, because he's pretty compelling to me. Yeah. So when I watch it, I see like I'm just trying to pick up like when I watch it, I'm like, is there stuff about him that I don't really know, or is this just like put on? And to an extent, Cena too. So like when they were doing the stuff of him, because the depression thing was real. I mean, that, right. And I'm going, and that was a
and
big
now you're
story.
seeing the footage from that time.
Right. So I was definitely interested in that. Yeah.
What did you think? Did you see the other week when Maurice confronted the Bella Twins about screwing her over on a contract negotiation? That to me had the ring of truth to it as well.
Yeah, that I didn't see, so I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. She said that they all agreed like, oh, let's hold out for more money, and they got notified like, okay, we're not going to use any of you. And then Marie said like she got a text from the Bellas like, oh, we're at Raw. Hope you're not mad. We got contracts, and then didn't contact her again for like 2 years.
Wow. I never heard that story, but that's interesting. Yeah. So I'm guessing that's when because the Bellas came back when Total Divas was brought back, and that's when like they contacted. The timing works in the sense that they contacted like Kelly and a lot of these women, and it was like, we want you all back, all the really pretty ones, so we could do this reality show. And, it makes sense because that like they said, okay, we want XX money. Let's, go together. And then, I mean, I don't know that it's true, but the timing wise, that sounds like it makes sense. Yeah.
Very interesting.
If I have a question for you, do you think about like the amount of injuries that we see these days? Do you think we're going to reach a breaking point where they start, we're like, that we're going to see a major injury on a show, or something's going to happen to where they're going to reach a point where they're going to start scaling back on how risky these guys are getting?
I sure was watching that last night, thinking that it's inevitable. Yeah, it's inevitable. Something's gonna. It's like it's always in wrestling. Something's gonna happen, and then they're gonna go. Like, remember when they had all the neck injuries and they started banning all the suplexes?
Yeah, the German suplex. Right.
I think that's what's gonna happen. Is you're gonna now it's a lot of shoulder injuries, but shoulder injuries don't like get people worked up. Like if you had a lot of concussions right now, guaranteed. They would take steps immediately because concussions are a buzzword right now. Neck injuries, if there were a bunch of neck injuries all in a short period of time, I'm guaranteed that they would tone things back. Yeah. As far as WWE goes, they do pretty much limit it to the big shows as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like they always go more, it's not like they're doing this every night because you couldn't do it every night.
Right.
Is that why they got rid of like the ladders and tables and chairs matches? Because everybody's just trying to.
I think they're bringing that back on the next pay-per-view. It's tables, ladders, and chairs. So no, I don't think so.
Wow. But they were doing a lot more in the
right, like it's almost out of the mix for just a random Monday Night Raw match.
Well, it should be. I think ladder matches should be like saved for like something really special. Yeah.
Right.
Dave, do you think a match like? Do you think there's anybody that on this, like the major players on TV right now, that can do like an Austin Brett WrestleMania 13 style match, and it will get over with this audience that's watching the shows these days?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are good. These guys can get matches over, not to that degree, because that was like I mean, Brett had something, and Austin had a very high believability, and Brett was able to make his matches seem real to a level. But part of that is it's not even the workers as much as, again, when your audience is there for irony as opposed to seriousness. Even if you did that kind of a match, it's a lot harder to get that emotion. Actually, I mean, one of the things is, I mean, they tried to do that with Brock and Randy Orton, with all the, using all the blood and everything. But that kind of backfired, I think.
Yeah.
And not only was that Brett Austin one of the best matches I've ever seen, the double turn at the same time was great.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, plus it looked like they could fight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's not. That's one thing that bothers me about the product these days is that the athleticism takes place of like just like fighting. Sometimes it's like there's like you want right. You could marry both. But I think there's not a lot of guys on that card that when I look at them beating somebody up that I'm buying it like I used to buy Austin, Brett. Even Shawn Michaels when he throws punches. But if you watch the WWF style from back in like the early 2000s, late 90s, stuff, everything, the transitions in between the spots were punching, kicking, and selling. It's like there's not a lot of that anymore. It's like that part of the match has kind of like been taken out, and we've added more spots. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I think like a lot of these guys are getting hurt more is because when you're adding more risk, you're just like it's math. The higher the risk and the more risk you take, the more you're going to get hurt.
And you're diluting the value of some of the things like when I mean I think that sometimes, not even sometimes, but a lot of times I'm watching a match and it's like I'm thinking like if you did half of what you did,
right,
I would remember it more type of match, right?
Right.
Or the idea of the same guy in the first match is doing what the guy in the main event's doing. So when the guy in the main event's doing it, it's like I've seen 3 times on the show already, and it's not that special.
The dive through the second and third rope, which is like regardless
dive
of
through the second and third rope. If everybody does it in every single match, I mean, it's like now when I watch like Jay Lethal or somebody, and he'll do like 3 or 4 in a row, and that's one where it's like, now you got to do 3 or 4 in a row, and they start popping on the third one. It's like, wow, that's kind of scary in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's high risk.
Right. Well, that's the problem because everybody's trying to outdo each other, make a name for themselves, and you're young, and you can't tell a young guy not to go because that's what they know how to do. As you get older and you get experience, like, I don't got to do that anymore. A lot of guys don't have that name value where they can just go in there and get a pop. You know what I'm saying? So they're building up to get that name. Because, bro, I remember when the Stooges used to come out, Pat Patterson and Jerry Brisco?
Mm-hmm.
And they would beat up, the
posse, the Main Street
posse. Bro, the way they threw their punches was better than anybody on the show.
Pat Patterson was incredible.
And the guys today, they just don't know how to punch.
We've been getting so much positive feedback on the presence of Dave, Gin and Juice, and Molly Meltzer that he will be back again next week on Keepin' It 100 with Konnan, and we encourage you to tweet at Meltzer, W-O-N. That's M-E-L-T-Z-E-R, W-O-N. The W-O-N, of course, stands for Wrestling Observer Newsletter. Please check that out as well. Much love to Dave Meltzer. It's about that time on Keepin' It 100 where we chop it up and break it down on one of my favorite things, football. This week, the one and only legendary Double J Jeff Jarrett joins us to break it down on football.
Yo, man, we got a big special guest to the show, super sports fan, our boy Double J, Jeff Jarrett. What's up, Jeff?
What's up, fellas? I appreciate you guys having me on. And you have me on the week that my Tennessee Titans are on bye. So I think that was strategically planned by one Glenn Gilberti.
Right. But possibly.
Yes.
Very possible.
So, anyways, I wanted to tell you guys, I was reading this thing about Dallas that was very interesting to me. It was about Jerry Jones. And he was saying that when the draft came around, there was nobody in the defense he liked. Okay. And basically, he wanted Elliott. And one of the reasons was last year they were like 11th, somewhere around there, like 11th in time of possession. And now with Elliott this year, they're first in time of possession.
Wow. Well, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, that was my team growing up, but now I'm a Tennessee Titan guy. But I listen to way too much talk radio when I'm doing things. And Cowherd made a good point the other day. As desperate as all these teams are to have a good quarterback, and they do all their analysis, and you miss this guy and you miss that guy, nobody's calling the GMs, not the head coaches, but the GMs of all these at least 20 NFL teams that need quarterbacks. Maybe that's too much. But Dak fell to fourth. How many people screwed up not getting the guy? And I know they got a great offensive line, and I know Elliott's awesome. But how many people within all these organizations pushed him to fourth round?
Bro, listen to this. And in that same draft, they originally wanted Paxton Lynch. Check this out. Obviously went to Denver. Then they wanted Connor Cook, the Michigan State guy. But Oakland, for some reason, already having a franchise quarterback in Carr, picked Cook, and then they picked Dak. That was their third choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, but a good line makes a good quarterback. Bro, here's a perfect example. The Falcons last year, Matt Ryan had arguably his worst season as Atlanta Falcon. Their offensive line was as bad as it's been. This year, their offensive line is one of the best in the league because they added Alex Mack and Jake Matthews in the second year. They got like one of the best offensive lines in the league. He's one of the best quarterbacks. He's an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
but let me say
same
one thing.
Same with Mariota here in Tennessee.
But tell me, would you disagree with this, Jeff? This is something that really opened my eyes. You know how Jaworski always comes on ESPN and he goes, "Oh, I was checking the tape," right?
Yeah.
And how he always checks the tape on all the QBs. So this was probably, and I want to say week 8. He said, I was checking the tape on Dak Prescott, and you'll appreciate this. And he goes, and all of the guys that I was talking to, assistant coaches and all that, were saying he hadn't made one bad throw. So that, it ain't like you can just stick anybody back there.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to jump, and you guys are steering the ship. Kevin may be mad at me, but no, look, you go to college. Look at Alabama. Yes, Saban is a cut above the rest. There's been no quarterback that would even sniff the NFL, unless I'm forgetting somebody, in years. But they just reload with backs, receivers. We got our man Henry here. I mean, he's a stud,
super stud.
And every year their O-line just reloads and just runs it right down the throat of anybody they face. They will destroy Washington. Mm-hmm. It will be ugly.
You really think so? Let me tell you something. Here's the thing about this. We're sidebarring into college football, and I love the discussion here about this. So I love talking about this because, bro, to me, are you one of those guys that that thinks like the SEC is like the best conference, and like you're one of those SEC conference guys? Are you one of those?
Glenn, don't even get in this debate with me. We had a run unprecedented. When I say we, yes, SEC. It was the NFL, it was the SEC, and then it was the rest of college football. At times, LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina. We were by far. Now, this year is a completely different story.
Now it's the Big Ten.
Thank you.
It's the Big Ten.
The culture. Look at the coaching. Cowherd, he says it best. I mean, Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer, look how dominant he was in this season. But, yeah. The Big Ten flipped it, and I really think, James Franklin. I lived it right here in Nashville with Vanderbilt. I mean, Glenn, you're from the South. Vandy was the punchline of the SEC for years and years and years. And what did he take back-to-back years of 9-win seasons at Vandy? That's a miracle worker. That's a freaking miracle worker. So James Franklin can flat out coach, no doubt.
That's what I tell everybody. It's like every talk about talent, the SEC, bro. College football is coach driven. It's not a surprise that probably 3 of the top 4 or 5 coaches in college football are coaching in the BCS playoff right now.
No doubt.
Bro, like I said, Nick Saban, like to me, the SEC has just graduated over the past couple of years into Alabama and everybody else because the coaching disparity is so it's head and shoulders. Okay. But the coaching disparity there is no coaching disparity between him and Urban Meyer. There is no real coaching disparity. There is maybe coaching disparity, but bro, Chris Peterson is right up there. Chris Peterson had Boise State winning, to 10, 11 games, playing, having people think they were in the national title conversation at Boise State. He's getting a chance to coach. Here's the problem that Alabama's going to have. Their team looks great, but they haven't, literally this year especially, they haven't played anybody because the SEC has been super down this year and the coaching's terrible. Saban has to coach against Chris Peterson, and in my opinion, I think Urban Meyer in back-to-back games after coasting through the season. Now their line, it may get ugly. They may beat them up. They may beat them 35-3, whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised because Chris Peterson's the type of guy that will pull things out of his hat.
Yep.
You haven't seen before, but what I'm saying, I would not be surprised. Okay, even though they should, and their odds of an out. If I had to bet my life savings, I would bet Alabama wins the national championship here. But having to play against, if he has to play against Chris Peterson and Ohio State, I would not be surprised if they lost.
All right, then let's jump ahead then, and we've got a month to change our minds. But right now, I'm picking Alabama over Washington, and I think Ohio State wins in a close one, and I think Alabama wins by 10 in the final. I just think Alabama's too steep. So I went out first. You guys, I want to hear what you thought. And look, I'm going to give myself a mulligan. So I'll come back on the week before
I'm not asking you, Konnan. I'm telling you.
That's awesome. No. Go ahead.
I'll have a month to change my mind, but that's where I'm going right now.
Okay,
DI, go ahead.
But this is what I say to all the people that are plugging Alabama into the national championship already, and they're going to win the game, bro. You're forgetting that people. This is what people are forgetting. The juniors and seniors on Ohio State have already beaten the juniors and seniors on Alabama. Okay, they did. So there's not, to me. I agree. Alabama over Washington, Ohio State over Clemson.
Let me just say one thing real quick. I have a very strong prejudice against Nick Saban over the way he left the Dolphins.
I was going to say strictly Dolphin driven.
Right.
Right.
But I can't see Alabama does it again, as much as it pains me to say that.
Bro, I'll tell you, they got a lot of pressure on them, though, bro. They have not played it. The closest team they played this year.
I appreciate the fact that we are trying to get a very exciting storyline out of this, but Alabama's going to win at the end.
Bro, too many people. I'm telling you. I just think, brother, put a lot of pressure on themselves. The closest game they had all year was against a team that couldn't even score on them. I mean, seriously, they beat LSU 10-0. It's the closest game they had. You know, they killed everybody.
Bro, how awesome is it that Fournette gets hurt and then this other guy just goes in there and just runs all over everybody?
Yeah.
And that's going to go back to our earlier comments. The SEC, we're loaded with athletes.
Yeah.
Coaching is down. Loaded with athletes. Coaching is down. And that's as Glenn stated, I got to agree with the turd head that it's everything. It's everything in college.
Yeah, it is.
Yo, let me tell you 2 words that Disco's not going to like. You ready for this one, Jeff? Eric Berry. Boom.
And his little brother is a UT Vol, just like Eric was. But yesterday, single-handedly, and I got Matt Ryan on one of my teams.
but that's unbelievable how they lost. That's just crazy. I'm like, oh.
And I know you guys know this, but the story on Barry, man, coming back and he's an Atlanta boy, and of
course, giving the football to his mom.
Yeah, I mean, to give our wrestling analogy, what a baby face that guy was yesterday, coming back in. Not too much of a baby face to your Atlanta Falcons.
Oh,
wow,
incredible.
Incredible.
Now, I love my Falcons this year. I'm telling you, even though they lost that game, but we're 7-5 this year. We didn't have a lot of expectations, but we're 7-5. We played the hardest schedule in the league this year,
and a quiet 7-5 that can make a run.
Yeah, but especially now that Earl Thomas broke his leg for Seattle. Like I guess the Seattle defense is like significantly worse when one of those 3 guys on Legion of Boom don't play. They showed that stat on the game last night and everything. But honestly though, the NFC is just the road to the Super Bowl is going through Texas.
Big shout out to Jeff Jarrett for taking the time to chop it up. We look forward to having him back next week for part 2 of this football breakdown. And we encourage you to follow Jeff Jarrett at Real Jeff Jarrett on Twitter. Send him a shout out. And of course, check out globalforcewrestling.com and follow at GFW Wrestling on Twitter for more news and information on Global Force Wrestling. Every week, our homie, the Hurricane Shane Helms, rolls through to chop it up on whatever topics may come up. And this week, he brought a friend. So we're honored to welcome Bellator superstar, Impact Wrestling megastar, the great Bobby Lashley, to Keepin It 100 with Konnan. We join this conversation off the air and then roll it right into on the air. So enjoy.
If you can record a quick drop for the show before we do the interview, just kind of like, hey, this is Bobby, put yourself over, and then just put over that you're listening to Keepin It 100 with Konnan. And if you've ever had a bad life experience with Disco Inferno and you want to share that, you could also consider this an open forum for that.
This is Bobby Lashley, and you're listening to the podcast Keepin It 100.
All right.
Riveting. I've been telling them how you've been getting so much better at your promos, man. I'm glad to see you back me up on that one.
That was great. both home runs in the put yourself over department and the any bad disco experiences.
I'm not doing none of the above.
I was reading this thing right here in Wikipedia that you were training for the Olympics and you suffered a knee injury while doing business at a bank or a robbery broke out?
Yeah.
What happened?
It was right before right after the World Team Trials. I just went to my bank. I was doing some work. And in the morning, I just went to the bank because I was supposed to be putting some money in or something. When I walked in, I got to like the back of the line and stood there for about a couple seconds. They kicked the door in. These guys came running in. The guy actually fired off a round like right behind me. I turned to look to see who was coming, heard the blast, took a dive down to the ground, and it kind of blew my knee out at the time when I did it.
Wow.
But it was kind of a crazy story. I mean, because I saw the guys walking in. So afterwards, they called me up because I was the only person in the bank that saw these guys. And I saw them like a couple minutes before it happened. And then they came in firing and everything like that. And then I had to testify, and then I had to see them again at that time. But it was a crazy experience.
And where was this, in Colorado?
Colorado Springs, yep.
Let me ask you a question. When you were training for the Olympics, like how far deep were you? Like how long?
So it was a year before,
right?
It was a year before. So when I was going, it was like the World Team Trials. So it was a year. It was every year they do World Team Trials before the Olympics. They do the Olympic trials. So this was just a World Team Trials. So we just the World Team Trials, and then the next year it would have been the Olympic trials. So it's the same tournament. So it was in July, and they always have them in June.
What were your chances? You feel? Like, did you feel like personally, like how good you are? What were your chances? Did you feel you were going to be wrestling in the Olympics?
Man, I think I had a good chance, and this is the reason. I wrestled at 187 like all the time before, and I was cutting a tremendous amount of weight. I was sick, I was tired, and I didn't have the greatest of showings in all of those. The minute I bumped it to 211, I had better showings, and then the World Team Trials, I took third. And I lost in double overtime to the guy that took second. So whether I made it or not, I had a whole year to prepare for it, and I thought that I was close enough to have a good chance at it. The person that actually made it was Cormier, and he and I wrestled that year. He beat me by a couple points, so it was a tough match, and it was right when I went up to 211. So who knows? I think I had a good chance.
I like that question, like as if you were going to say, "Oh, I would have got my ass whooped."
No, you never. I mean, like I didn't.
Hey, what do you think your chances were? Oh, I would have just got beat up.
Yeah, I was training because I didn't think I was going to make it.
I was just going to have a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but anything can happen at those, man. We've seen some crazy things happen, like with Rulon winning the Olympics and being Karelin. I mean, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but you never know. Every year there's always like hope, but it doesn't always happen. Jordan Burroughs, which was our greatest wrestler, didn't even place at the Olympics this year. I mean, it all depends on draw, who you're. There's a whole bunch of variables, but I thought I was.
Hey, do you think when Bobby, when Karelin lost, did you think that was a little kabuki? I think your hesitation says everything.
It was a tough one because it goes back to those things. If you're talking about like a champ, you always say you got to beat the champ, right? He hadn't lost, 15 years, and he goes out there. They made a rule that, like, right before the Olympics. And I've wrestled Rulon before. I love Rulon to death. I think Rulon's amazing. But we did a parterre position, so he was on the bottom. So I went to go and try to, like, gut him, do a gut wrench, so wrap around his chest. I couldn't even touch my fingers around his chest. And that was, and when you went to the Olympics in the finals, that's what they had to go through, a clinch. It's hard to clinch that guy. But, I mean,
that's funny.
It was a rule that was good for him. It was a rule that was good for Rulon. But nevertheless, he won the match. So, I mean, my hat's off to him, but it kind of sucks that that's the way one of the greatest wrestlers in history had to lose.
But do you think they put that rule? Do you think they put their rule in there just to favor him?
Nah, I mean, that's like conspiracy theory.
Right.
I mean, you can say that, but whether you're true or not, that's kind of far fetched. But they can say that. You can always say that.
Right, bro. Talking about size, I remember you telling me how enormously big and strong Bob Sapp was.
Yeah. Have you been around Bob before?
No, I haven't. But you were telling me how humongous he was.
Yeah,
I thought you were big.
Yeah, Bob's an enormous dude. I mean, when I fought him, when I went to weigh-in, that's when I actually realized how big he was, because I was trying my hardest not to look up at him. Bob's enormous. What is he, like 6'6"? And he walks around at about 400, so he's enormous.
Right.
Bobby, were you there when he came to WWE a couple of times, like just to hang around or something, or talk to somebody? You were never there when he came there?
No, that was before I got there. He was already in Japan.
Before your time?
I got it there. Before my time.
But when you fought him, Bobby...
Remember, I'm still a youngster.
Yes, I know.
What's that?
Bobby, when you fought Sapp, it was an MMA fight, right?
Yeah.
And you were telling me how strong he was coming down at you, like these big, rough, these big hammers that you could just, hear them coming at you, and you would move at the last moment. Just, you remember you telling me about that?
Well, what happened in the fight was, what I was saying was that Bob just came charging me. And I didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't know what he was going to do. And that's what I was saying. It's like, yeah, Bob's been going on the street just taking balls and losing to everybody. But what I think is, man, if Bob really, I mean, if you see his just sheer how huge he is, if Bob came at you there's nothing you can do about it. And that's what he was doing. That's why it'd be like, when I said, who's some of those guys before in the days, he's just overpowering. He's just a real huge person. And then he starts pulling those clubs. If you get hit by those, you're going out no matter what.
Right.
So the fact that he's losing right now, it's stupid and it makes him look bad. But I think if Bob really trained and tried to go out there and work for people's ass, I think there's not too many people that can beat him. I took him down right away when he came at me. I didn't want to try to swing and accidentally get hit by one of his fists. I took him and put him right on his back right away.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not going to stand up and fight with him. And I think some of the people can, because, if you're a good kickboxer, of course you can stand up with him. But if he hits you, it's trouble.
Much love to Hurricane Shane Helms for bringing his homie Bobby Lashley by for some conversation. Be sure to follow Shane Helms on all social media at ShaneHelmsCom, and be sure to send Bobby Lashley a shout out on Twitter at FightBobby. Much love to both of those gentlemen, and they'll both be back next week.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and juicy for all.
So here we are with the juiciest segment of the show. He's not the best one. He's not the greatest one. He's the juiciest one. The juice says so. The juice makes so. The president of all the juicy boys and juicy girls, here is Juventud Guerrera.
Hip juice, man! Loud. I've been missing so much. Guys, what the juice is cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. The juice is back.
So we let him back this week, huh?
The juice is loose. It's on the loose, and it's ready to go, because I know the juicy people, it was missing me from last week, and I was missing the juicy people. And, we got to get connected. There's no way we can be like just have a juicy weekend, a juice weekend, or a week of juice without the juicy segment. Is that right?
That's very true. But, okay, I brought him on the show. You can ask him, and he can give you his answer, and then we'll figure out, what happened.
Okay.
All right. So what happened last week when you were at WrestleCade and somebody posted a video where you joined the Brisco, the Breakfast Club guys with the Double J in them, and then you told me and Konnan to F off.
What?
Jack. Double J, your boy Double J in Miami.
No, hold on. I saw those guys, those two jabronis at the bar. Obviously, they were like hanging out. They were, hey, what's our juice and all of that. Like, this. Two pendejos, they're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Wait a second.
Right? Like, okay.
No.
And then I don't know what happened.
Bro, you were wearing. We played a video. You're wearing a Breakfast Club shirt, and you told me and Konnan to F. You told me and Konnan. You told me and Konnan to F off.
Are you drunk? Disco? Are you drunk?
Okay.
To be fair, Juicy, even I saw the video. There's a video of you saying, and then you said very rude things about Konnan.
Now, okay, Konnan, do you see that video?
Juice, let me say something. I thought when I saw that video, I go, how's the juice going to bury the juicy segment?
I'm pretty sure it was like a somebody else, not me. But
No.
Me.
It was you. There's only one juice. Bro, there's only one juice.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Wait, you both said so and make so in the video.
And I said, and Huey, I said, and now I'm positive this happened. they must have either drugged you or given you something to drink because they somehow got a Brisco shirt on.
Really?
There's no way you'd ever.
Myself, I have a breakfast buffet club on myself. Did I?
Yes.
I mean, like, come on, guys. Like, this is a joke that I'm gonna be like
on podcast one. So you know
that's
what?
Why the people, that's why the people was like telling me, "Hey, what happened? Why my segment was banned?" And I was like, didn't know what the hell was happening.
Exactly
but,
why. But
you know, I'm sure that it was like. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It
just sounds like he was he was drugged or given a roofie or a halcyon or something like that.
Molly or all three,
something like that. And I think that I think it's a good idea to have a criminal investigation into Jackie and the Breakfast Club, and maybe see about bringing charges against him.
I just think as long as they don't put up any more videos, we won't bring up any charges. They should just disband the club. That's number one. Number two, give out Jackie's Facebook so everybody can go on his Facebook and tell the Brisclits that did they try to play the Juice? Why would they do that to the Juice? And I want you to insult him in the most vile means possible.
Yeah, well, you can go on Facebook. You go to the Breakfast Club, okay, and you'll see the Brisclits will be in there.
Don't they have it spelled some weird way or something?
They have it. Let me see here. They have it. I don't know. That's actually the Brisclits is BRI. Go on to Twitter. It's BRIZZ at BRIZZCLIZZ at Brisclits, and just let them know. Let them know that you think they're assholes, for what they did, and let them know that they should quit doing the videos.
Right.
Okay.
I think they should.
And you can use foul language too. Use foul language on their Twitter page.
Right.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that night, those 2 nights, I had a blast, dude. Because I was for quite a while haven't seen some of the boys, some of the guys, and we were just really having a lot of fun. And actually, even the show was great, and I was really good. I was really happy to perform with.
You were happy, Hoovy.
New generation, yeah.
You actually called me and you put Scott Hall on the phone, so you were able to connect again with Scott.
Yeah, can you believe that? Yeah,
that's awesome.
Scott, I was a long time without seeing him, and I called you. When I was with him, I know you were going to be happy. To hear his voice. He was like, "Wow, yeah, that was an amazing 2 days of juiciness."
Who were some of the other people you were happy to see that you haven't seen in a while?
I saw Eric Bischoff. It was there. We took a picture. Actually, I'm going to post it because it's been like. I don't know why I didn't post it. Me and Scott Hall and Eric Bishop, we took a selfie and we're going to post it. It's really cool. And some of the guy, Dave Pencer, which is like, can you believe to see Dave Pencer?
He's a big fan of disco.
It
was in the bar, who was the manager who was
Sonny
Japanese guy, Sonny Ono, obviously. And and Sonny Ono was there, and then I saw who else? It was a lot of the guys from TNA, which I just saw some of them in the venue.
And Matt Hardy was there, right?
Yeah, Matt Hardy was there. Chris Master was there. Carlito was there. I was hanging out with them too. Was happy to see them. And a lot of the boys. And the match I was doing actually was great. I think. Everybody was saying that we stole the show. It was Ricochet and Kill Shot.
Wow.
That's
already a great match.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And Matt Cross and M-Dog.
Oh, yeah.
Against Sanjay Dutt, myself. And this new guy actually was a local guy because that was supposed to be another guy from Lucha Underground. But this guy really, really, really pulled it out really good with the 6 of us. It was was an amazing feeling to have really good, like a cruiserweight performance. That was like a pay-per-view, We were like, wow. It was like every one of us, we were trying to use just to put a statement, I think, that night.
Right. That's awesome when you get in there with other guys, Hoovy, that have great talent, and everybody just wants to have a great match.
I know. It's the great feeling because everybody is just is looking after each other. You know, everybody just doing their own thing, but at the same time building for a good match, and it was fantastic, bro. Like to be working with those, like Killshot is amazing. You know, this guy, like I did this reversal Frankensteiner that
Yeah,
if you don't,
man. I saw
the
it. That's
guy,
nice. Yeah.
If you know the guy, you don't do it. You know, even Ricochet, like this is the first time you've done it. I'm like, yeah, because you know we were in the back like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like, have you done it? I'm like, no, but I'd like to try. Because if you don't do it, you only do it those kind of moves if you know the guy is a good base, or you know the guy is a good performer, like a top quality that you don't like. Okay, this guy is gonna do it. And you know the way Killshot tell me, oh, we're gonna do this. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Even like, I mean, I've been in the business for so long. I know how to do Frankensteiner. It's the same way doing a Frankensteiner or reversal, but maybe for others not. But I like to take risks, you know. But I want to give a really quick shout out to Corky Frank, which was the announcer of the WrestleCade show, and Tim, the guy to hire me, and everybody, you know, all the owners of WrestleCade. I want to say thank you. And Cordy Flag, it was really funny because after they finished the match, he was like, in the way you say it, you know, when you say what I say, when did you say so the juice makes so boom. He said that at the end, and that was amazing because you know people were like recognize you that from the show, or you know what I mean. So even that got a really good reaction. So I was like, so what's up, Corky Frank?
Yo, what up? And bro, that's the great thing that all of us, you know, when Disco went to New York for that deal, and Kevin, and when he's gone to the shows in Frisco, and now that you went to WrestleCade, people reaching out and saying, hey, I listened to the show and I like it and I like this and I like that. So obviously that's super cool. And it's, once again, you know, I want to thank all the people that have been listening. If you want to get a hold of Hoovy, he's going to put his Facebook. Do you want to say your Facebook here too, or no?
I'm just going to put the link. It's kind of like it's juicy.fans.officials. But anyways, I put the link.
Say the last part. It's
juicy fans, and then that again officials.
Gotcha. Juicy fans. Dot officials.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they can watch your show on La Arena TV, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's YouTube/La Arena.
And that comes out
LA on Thursday.
On Thursdays. All right. So check out
youtube.com/La Arena. LAARENA.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. You can check out Juicy. Send them your thoughts on his Twitter, on his Facebook. Check out his show. And this has been And Juicy for All. Boom.
Boom.
Where can people find you on social media, Hoovy?
Oh, it's on Twitter. It's Juventud Guerrera #2. Guerrera #2.
How do you spell that? Hoovy, you spell that out because it's a difficult. It's hard to find on Twitter sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Okay, it's GUBENTUD. I'm gonna say that GUBENTUD GUERRE2 mother. Yeah, that's right. That's my Twitter.
I think a lot of people are going to be finding you.
Yo, man, it's that holiday time. It's about to get that shopping started. You can go old school and spend hours searching for a parking spot and having to deal with crowds in a mall, or you could get it done by home by clicking on a few buttons. I'm talking about Amazon, but not just any Amazon. I'm talking about Amazon on podcast1.com.
That's right. Wait, time out. We've done this. Everybody knows where Amazon.com is. If they've been listening to the show, or for all our new listeners, it's real simple. You just go to the Podcast One homepage, and you look up in the right-hand corner, you get the Killer Deals button. You click that Killer Deals button on, then you come to all the Amazon.com links for the Podcast One network. And you're going to scroll down in alphabetical order, and you're going to hit that Keepin It 100 button. You'll see the ad. It says Keep It 100. It's under Hubbard Radio. And then you'll have the links for the United States, Canada, the UK. If you're in the United States, for example, click on the United States, and it's Christmas time. And this is the best way to shop during Christmas because we all know. Konnan, have you done any Christmas shopping yet?
No.
KG, how about you?
I did a little.
Okay, could you imagine right now with the traffic and all the BS going to the mall and doing your Christmas shopping? Would you even consider that these days?
Hell no, dude. I saw for real on my Facebook, people for whatever reason were all sleeping in front of Toys R Us's this weekend because some hatching animal toys and these Nintendo classics are going on sale, and you can get that stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, you just go to Amazon.
Bro, you know what's it? To me, it's so embarrassing as an American, bro. When they show the lines for like Black Friday, and then they open the door.
It's like Walking Dead or something. But they're like monsters,
right?
People like animals, like trying to there's a bone in the middle, like a raw bone in the middle of the mall. They got
that's my microwave. Give me that.
Right. Oh, so you got to be crazy to go through that scene, man. Go to Amazon.com and do your shopping. Kevin, you're an Amazon Prime member, right?
Yep, I love an Amazon Prime, man. Benefits out the yin yang, and on top of I love the 2-day shipping. I love the 2-day shipping, man. Prime is you pay an annual fee, and you get everything you order is shipped with 2-day service, and you could upgrade anything you want to overnight delivery for like $1.99 a package. So this way, no one wants to wait around for stuff nowadays. It makes it even easier to not go to the store, and it also includes like free movie rentals and streaming and audiobooks and a giant music library. I just get everything on Amazon directly.
A honeymoon couple wanted to go on a destination, and you had said that they could go to Sapphires, right?
Right.
If mostly just for kind of more for the male counterpart, but it works with both. If you buy some strawberry whipped cream here on Amazon and you hand it to Disco, you'll be very glad you did, and I will go into details on the outro of the show. Boom.
Okay, well, that's very disrespectful in the middle of an Amazon.com ad. You know, we're trying to let people give people opportunity here because this helps us out. This is how we pay the bills. You know, when people shop on Amazon.com, and you've chosen this opportunity to make fun of me.
I think it's an appropriate time. I think it's totally appropriate.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate.
So if you go to Sapphires, bring your whipped cream. That's
okay.
Awesome.
Well, I
think just ask for the Disco special and wink twice.
Okay, that's great, guys. I think what it's an appropriate time for is to let the listeners know, once again, how to use our Amazon.com links.
I'm going to make it even simpler than our friend Disco Inferno did earlier. How about this? Just go to podcast1.com/100. That's podcastone.com/100. Click on the Killer Deals button. While you're there, sign up for the mailing list. That's all you got to do. Bookmark the link. Next time it's even easier to find. All you do is click Killer Deals. It transports you right to the Amazon page like nothing even happened, and you go from there. No hidden fees, 0 extra charges. All the great selection and service from Amazon you love, and Amazon throws us some love. It's a win-win.
Get your Disco candles and strawberry whipped cream.
The hottest stories in the wrestling world is the podcast wars currently being fought between Disco Inferno and Keepin It 100
and Cyrus and Killing the Town. Both shows on Podcast One, both shows on the Jericho Network. No love lost between the factions. Let's catch up on the latest installment of this beef.
I know, Cyrus, you want to deal with Disco one time real quick. They extended the invite to Keepin It 100.
You know, I don't expect a lot of the Disco, and I certainly don't expect him to be my intellectual equal, because that would be asking a lot. But my God, he's just so stupid, he buries himself every week. So this week on Konnan's show, he actually said, first off, he called Chris Jericho dumb, which is, probably not the smartest thing you can do given that he owns the network. And then he basically admitted that what he was going to do was to stooge me off to management, to stooge me off to Jericho to try to get me fired. And he admitted this on Konnan. Now, we know that the worst thing, the lowest form of life in wrestling is a stooge. There's nothing worse than a stooge. And he outed himself as a stooge on the Konnan Keepin It 100 show. And I hope everyone in the wrestling business listens to that. And it's no wonder that Arn Anderson paintbrushed Disco back in the day, because no one likes a stooge. And he outed himself as a stooge. And I'm offended by that. And also, where does he get off thinking he can try to cost me money? He can impact my ability to feed my family. I'm really tempted to take some legal action here because I'm a litigious individual. And I'm thinking that I may call my man Jimmy McDevitt to file a lawsuit.
You mean Jerry McDevitt?
No, Jimmy, it's his stepbrother. So I am not going to go on the show that employs a stooge as one of its co-hosts, a man who admitted to trying to cost me money, take money out of my pocket, take food off my family's table. So no, as much as I respect the heck out of Konnan, I will not accept the invitation to go on that show where he's employing a stinking stooge.
Category one, I want to point out that this guy, only an idiot would come on a network and try to, discredit the others. You're basically your coworkers, people that you work with. Okay, so what we have here is a situation where, when you're an idiot, that means your IQ is between 0 and 25. The average IQ is 100. Okay, so this guy is literally a mentally retarded jackass that comes on here every week, okay, that tries to discredit my good name, tries to make jokes about me, tries to get himself over. But he said something very, very important and very, very serious in here.
Can I say something to KG real quick? Is mentally retarded PC or not?
Technically, no. You can't.
Yeah, well,
I like it. Go ahead.
Why not? 0 to 25 is part of it. That's retardation. If you have an IQ below 25. So yes, I am calling Cyrus mentally retarded for being such an idiot to try to ruin the Jericho Network. Okay, right. But he said something in there that's very, very important. Like, he professes to have such a high IQ and mental superiority over everybody. He said in there that I'm trying to get him fired is taking food off his table. Did I get that right? Can we play that clip again?
No, that's what he said.
Okay, so let me get this right. So this guy who's supposed to be a genius has mismanaged his finances so poorly to the point that he needs the income from this podcast, from Killing the Town, to literally feed his family, that he's that broke. I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for people like that. I don't want to put this guy – I don't want to starve him. I don't want to starve his family. He's obviously broke. Maybe we should have a fundraiser for Cyrus and help this guy out. Maybe Scott D'Amore can run a show in Winnipeg. Maybe we can get his address and have the listeners of this podcast send him soup cans to his house to feed his family, since he's so broke and can't even afford to barely put food on the table. I would give this guy the opportunity to just come on this show and just apologize for everything, because I don't want him to be broke, starving, and ending up on a street corner in Winnipeg in 25-degree weather where it's snowing, and he's got a sign that says, "I will podcast" for food around his neck. So we can bring him on the show, let him apologize, mend the bridges and stuff, but that's all I'm going to say about that for now.
All right. Well, he basically said he wasn't going to come on the show, so now I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to invite him on the show.
Oh, you're going to? We'll set up see if he's interested in doing a fundraiser. Because if he does not apologize, and if he continues to try to disparage me, I'm going to try to continue to get him kicked off the network.
I have a feeling he's going to hear about the fundraiser before I actually get an interview on their show, but I will relay the message.
Konnan, in your honest opinion, who is the bigger stooge, Terry Taylor or Disco Inferno?
Well, without a doubt, Terry Taylor. Yeah, without a doubt. Major League Stooge. Boom. And when I was at MLW, he won the prestigious Stooge of the Year award 2 years in a row, barely inking out another Stooge, Bruce Pritchard. Boom.
Who won the Stooge of the Year the last year?
I think it was Terry Taylor, wasn't it?
No.
Who was it?
It was me, you jackass.
That's right. I actually started a campaign for Disco to win it. He won. That was the listener spoke. But before you, I would like to say Terry did win it 2 years in a row. Okay, so I'm going to relay that message to Cyrus, and hopefully he will accept my invitation. We'll have him on here in a week or two.
To apologize.
To apologize.
We can move forward. I don't want him to lose his job. I don't want him to starve.
But you don't consider him a fake friend, right?
No, I don't consider him a friend at all.
Now, what if Cyrus were to come on our show? Well, if he got in your face, no.
Wait, no, if he got in my. No, I'm not a physical. I mean, what you're talking about is violent actions.
KG wants to turn this now into an actual fist fight.
No. I
for
know
his own perverted entertainment.
I want to do commentary on it.
Bingo. That's what I want to say. What he's trying to do, he's trying to work this into a match so he can get a commentary gig out of it. That's his end game here.
And preferably in San Francisco, so he doesn't have to travel, right?
I could also do L.A., Vegas, wherever.
Yeah, he can do like a 100-mile radius.
And then somewhere where he could drive in the car with Jeff Cobb to the show, so he could tell everybody, so he could name drop that he was driving with Jeff Cobb to the show.
Right. And he will produce shirts. Come see it. Tremendous. You're tremendous. All right, so Cyrus, you're on the disco list. Can you tell us anybody that's on the disco list? You put a whole bunch of people last week on the list, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're copying Jericho's list," but you went on Jericho's show, and he admitted that you're the one that came up with the list. So really, you have, you know what I'm saying?
Invented the list.
Right.
Any list was invented by me. Okay,
right.
So I'm the original. I'm the inventor of a wrestling. Any wrestling related list was invented by me. Okay. Right. So my disco list, here's who's on the list.
Right.
Okay. Cyrus.
Right.
Lance Storm.
Right.
Scott D'Amore.
Right.
Chris Jericho. Paul London.
Paul London, that's true.
Kevin Gill.
I just said I had your back.
Kevin
Kleinrock.
Right.
And Konnan.
Wait. Okay, wait. I have no problem being on the list because you're definitely on mine. How about Shark Boy?
Shark Boy's on the list too.
Wait. How about the Briscliz?
Well, the Briscliz is on the list.
How about Maxell?
Maxell Hardy and Matt Hardy are both on the list.
Right.
What about Senor Benjamin?
Senor Benjamin is on the list.
Vanguard 1.
He's on the list.
Russo.
He's on the list.
Jeff Lane.
He's on the list.
The Kingpin.
Oh, what you call Cyrus? Oh my God, he's on the list.
No, the Kingpin from Rocky Mountain Pro.
And all the Rocky Mountain Pro guys, they're on the list too because they said bad things about me too.
That's tremendous, bro. I love that. Okay, you're all on the disco list. Boom.
Damn, somehow I ended up on the disco list. Hey, Konnan, take us on home, brother.
Yo, what's up? We're here at the end of the show, man. We want to thank everybody that stayed along on this ride. Thank you for everybody that's been listening to all the shows, listen to earlier episodes. If you're a new listener, you can find me at KONNAN 5150. And I want to thank everybody that was on the show, from Lashley to the return of Juventud to the return of Kevin Kleinrock. 2 bands were lifted this week. Obviously, Disco clapped back at Cyrus. We're going to go over to Killing the Town, or as Disco always says, Killing the Truth. We're going to go over there and see what was cracking over there. And, just want to thank everybody that's been riding with the show, man. You can check me out on Facebook or Twitter at KONNAN 5150. DI, what's up?
You can check me on Twitter at The Real Disco. You can check me on at Disco Master GG on Instagram, where I have my wonderful haircuts posted every time I get them fresh. Like if I do a haircut, the girl will take the picture, and the picture will probably be up within 1 to 2 hours on Instagram. So it's a fresh haircut. Okay,
right.
So yes.
Do you like facials?
I know what you're trying to say there, and that's a
men take care of their skin now. If you've seen, they'll put the anti-foliage thing, and then they'll put the 2 cucumbers over the eyes, and the skin is looking nice, and the women like that.
Okay, yes, I do like facial scent.
Okay, I thought you did. And then the other one is, are you willing to do, and you even agreed with me on this one, women don't like guys that have bunions and corns and stuff, and they like men that take care of their stuff, all right? Mm-hmm. Any pedicures, pictures of pedicures in the future?
There is in the future, because I have a couple girls I know, they're pretty attractive, and they work in nail salons and they do pedicures. So maybe we can get a picture of the girl doing the pedicure.
Both. Yes, I like that. Okay.
Also, you can catch me at Sapphire Gentlemen's Club in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you ever come to Las Vegas and you want to come to the Gentlemen's Club, you got to be 21 or over. But you call 702-303-3430, and we'll send a free limo to pick you up and get you in for free with no cover, and we'll buy you a drink. And if I'm there, I will do 2 things. Number 1, I will shake your hand.
Right.
And number 2, I will let you take a picture with me. Okay? So
How
that's
about the
guaranteed.
hug?
Well, these are options. So that's guaranteed. I will shake your hand and let you take a picture.
Now, these are the options. Okay. Now, and then
there are other options, but bonuses.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If you're an attractive girl and you would like to give me a hug, I will hug you. Okay.
How about a group hug?
I'll do a group hug. Group hug comes like it's sort of in a picture, kind of, you know. You get that, but also
like a bunch of guys in a bachelor party, all drunk. You know, everybody's just hugging.
No, not that. No.
All right, just asking.
But another thing too, I do keep pictures there. Okay, right. And I will give you an autograph picture. Okay, if you maybe give me like a $20 handshake.
Wow. Now, could we have like options on the pictures too? Like if I wanted you in that Borat one piece, would that be possible or no?
No, that would not be possible. I mean, I'm giving you a lot of stuff here. I'm getting you in for free. It's $45.
Right, and I can't ask.
I'm giving them a drink. All right. I'm giving them a handshake. I'm letting them take a picture. All right. If you want the autograph picture, you know, you got to give them a little nice little handshake there.
Okay. Well, let me reveal something that if you remember, I had said yesterday, or in the what was it called? Which segment was it? It might have been the Amazon segment where I asked people that if they bought strawberry whipped cream, that they could bring it to Sapphire, since it is the holidays, very discreetly, because I know how you are. Disco will give you a strawberry whipped cream hand job, and this is only for December and January. He will give for the Latinos a horchata and tamarind sherbet hand job.
You're full of baloney. What you're doing is you're trying to embarrass me.
No, I'm helping the brand. I'm helping the brand, and this is only from 12 to 3. He will be giving out tea bags. And the good thing is he can go from like sour, like let's say sour cream and chive, and then boom, or we can go all the way to honey and cinnamon. So you can, mix and match. I'm trying to get KG, but I don't think I've convinced him yet to be giving out tension ball massages. But that's still, up in the air.
TBD.
I'm trying to plug my stuff here, and you're using it as a form.
And I'm helping.
And this is why you're on the list, okay? Wow. Specifically for things like this. You can also catch me on Podcast One on Mondays. I do Vince Russo's show. It's called Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco. We just chop it up. He didn't like to talk wrking that much anymore, so it's a funny show.
What are you talking about? Airports and women leaders?
Whatever. Talking about how his daughter hates him. Now she's a millennial, and
she must love that. Of course,
I'm sure she's probably wrong, and Jeff agrees with everything he says.
It's a possibility.
Bro, can that – I don't even want to get into that. But that's cool, bro. We're shouting out the Vince Russo show, the Tigers, Bears, Lions. That's what it's called?
Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirty Calls. It's on Mondays on Podcast One.
That's on Mondays, and then he has another show, right?
Well, he does shows every day.
Doesn't he have two on Podcast One?
Okay. He's got 5 shows a week. I don't know what he talks about in the other shows. So.
Yeah. All right. So what you got going on, KG?
Just the usual, man. I'm grinding it out, doing commentary whenever I can, and putting out new episodes of the Kevin Gill Show every week. Someone who's on Disco's list, and Disco made a false promise, like a fake friend, to listen to the Paul London episode. There's 2 of them now, actually. Paul London episodes on KevinGillShow.com, Podcast Arena, and all that. So those interviews have been getting a ton of listens, and I've been connecting with a lot of people, but not Disco because he is too busy for that sort of thing. Also,
have you ever interviewed Disco?
I would love to, but now that I'm on the list, I don't know if he would allow me.
No, bro, he ain't going to give you an interview now. If you're on the list, but go ahead. That's a good get, though. Disco is a good get. Go ahead.
I would love to have Disco on the show. And I would tell you this, as I stated a few weeks ago, where Cyrus didn't have the credentials to appear on my show, I will state that Disco Inferno does have the credentials to appear. But I digress. Also, hit up dignifiedbastard.com. That's the place you can get KG shirts, hoodies, all that. I'm doing a deal right now for Keeping It 100 listeners. You get a free Bloody Mania DVD from JCW featuring Matt Hardy, MVP, on and on, KG on commentary, dignified.
Why do I have a feeling in that Bloody Mania DVD neither MVP or Matt Hardy bled? Am I correct?
That is, you'll have to tune in and see. But yeah,
he's still. That's awesome. Go ahead.
And then on Twitter at OG Kevin Gill and at Kevin Gill Show. I'm also on Instagram at OG Kevin Gill and on Facebook as KG Kevin Gill. So holler at me. I'm interactive, just like Konnan, but I'm going to have to take the pass on the tension ball stress massages. I'll leave all that.
Do you even know what that is? Do you know what that is?
Well, I know kind of what I think you're alluding to, but then I know where you kind of are spinning it to be.
Well, what do you think it is?
Well, you're talking about a tension ball, like a stress ball that you would buy and keep on your desk to squeeze when you're having stress.
Or the balls that you roll through your fingers when you have stress. You know which one?
Yes.
You just lube the nutsack and then you just lubricate the guy's nutsack just like you would a tension ball thing, that you're flicking through your fingers. So I think we'll get KG in the holiday spirit, give him some Caribbean eggnog, and he'll be down for whatever, man, because that's how we do and that's what we do, because when the juice says so, the juice makes so. And this was episode 23 of Keeping It 100 with Konnan, DI, and KG. We're out of here.
Very disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Before we get out of here, every week we got to let you know about some of the people behind the scenes that help make Keeping It 100 happen. Huge, special, mega thanks to our homeboy Peter Melnick from the Audibly Exquisite podcast. You know about Audibly, find out about the exquisite part when Peter puts it down on the microphone. And, of course, our homie across the pond, Dylan Webster, a.k.a. DRW. He wrote Ryback's new theme music, The Big Guy, which is on iTunes now, and he's a critical part of Keeping It 100. Much love to him. And last but certainly not least, our good, close, personal, longtime friend, super producer, Stacie Parra. Always dropping knowledge, always dropping bombs, always lending a hand to Keeping It 100. Stacie, we love you. Thank you. And on that note, download new episodes of Keeping It 100 with Konnan every Thursday on the Jericho Network on podcast1.com. Please sign up for our mailing list. Please support our sponsors. Please use our Amazon Killer Deals button. And of course, rate, review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
And from the orale essay to the yes, yo. Who wants to step to my homeboy K-Dog and get slammed on the mat? Get your whole head cracked. The way man once last vocals on a filter so track. I step into the ring yelling orale. From Mexico all the way to the USA.
Did anybody see No Mercy?
Yes.
I did not. I was we were shooting still.
I attended it in person.
When you get a chance, Shane, look at Curt Hawkins. Is that his name?
Yep.
Okay, his entrance, all right? It was super brutal. He came out, I thought he was a majorette. And bro, listen to this, dude. Listen to some of the lines that they said when he came out. This is like his big debut, all right? He goes, there's like a guy announcing him, right? And he goes, when Curt Hawkins looks at Medusa, Medusa turns into stone. What? I was when he first saw Medusa, I was thinking the wrestler, and they went Greek mythology on me. But I think the guy who wrote that promo was stoned. Boom.
Oh my God.
Then listen to this one. When Curt Hawkins takes a day off, it stays off. Okay? And one more. When Curt Hawkins goes to the store, he doesn't check out items. Items check him out. Okay,
Wow.
how Joe judges all of that. This is this guy's debut. I'm like, is the same person that packaged this guy the same guy that packaged Aaron Rex and Mike Bennett? It's like, what are your gimmicks?
So he's just doing the Chuck Norris gimmick, obviously?
Bro, here's the worst. Here's the problem with that gimmick, okay, is that the gimmick is based on these facts that they do, like Curt Hawkins facts, right? The gimmick is based on writing comedy, okay? It's supposed to be funny. And just one thing.
Shane, wait. Shane, since you told me that you were writing comedy and all that, can we all agree there's nothing worse than bad comedy?
Nothing on earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to face the facts. We sold you the seat, but you'll only be needing the edge because Curt Hawkins is here. Yes, that Curt Hawkins. When Curt Hawkins goes shopping, the items, check him out. Curt Hawkins once looked at Medusa, and she turned to stone. And when Curt Hawkins takes a day off, it stays off.
Certainly got a chance here.
Get ready, Houston! Star Trek may have Captain Kirk, but the TLC kickoff has Captain Curt Hawkins! Here he is, ready to boldly lead his team where no team has gone before. Curt Hawkins!
The man who wants the WWE Universe to face the facts, Curt Hawkins.